अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन, एम्बेसी रोड प्रोग्राम में खुश आमदीद। हमारे साथ आज हैं पाकिस्तान में ऑस्ट्रिया के सफ़ीर एक्सल वेल्श, और हम उनसे बात करेंगे पाकिस्तान और ऑस्ट्रिया के दरमियान ताल्लुकात को किस तरह फ़रोग़ दिया जा सकता है, ख़ास तौर पर इक़्तिसादी शोबे में और तजारत में किस तरह दोनों ममालिक जो है ताउन कर सकते हैं। ऑस्ट्रिया पाकिस्तान में कई शोबों में सरमायाकारी कर रहा है। आज हम गुफ्तगू करेंगे कि मज़ीद किन शोबों में हमारे दोनों मुल्क जो है कोलैबोरेट कर सकते हैं, ताउन कर सकते हैं और सरमायाकारी में और तजारत में इजाफा कर सकते हैं। Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us in this program.
Thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure for me having here at my residence.
How do you rate Pakistan and Austria's relations at the moment?
Well, in principle, we have very good relations, I would say. Unfortunately, they are not on the political level as tight as with other countries, but we have very good business relations, which reflects in quite a good trade we are having together between Pakistan and Austria. And I am pretty much confident that actually in my tenure here we could even increase this sector of our relations. I also wish to have a little bit more on the political side, but this is of course not entirely in my hands, because you know the schedules of ministers and presidents are difficult to handle.
But what way, I mean, which sectors we are cooperating with each other in terms of commerce and trade and economy?
Commerce and trade, we have a very good cooperation, of course, in the hydropower sector. In general, in the power sector, Austria is providing with Andritz a lot of different turbines, hydropower turbines. They are working on several projects here. We have also with General Electric Jenbacher, a very successful Austrian-American company, which is providing gas turbines. They did the refurbishment of the Karachi Energy
Electric Supply Corporation.
Yes, exactly.
CASC,
right. And they are also very satisfied being here. On the purely commercial side, Red Bull is very successful and very happy being here in Pakistan. They just started recently, but as far as I know from them, are very satisfied. And then of course we have the Austrian gas company OMV here, which are exploring fields in Sindh. And mainly in Sindh actually. They're exploring, and they're also very, very successful and satisfied being here.
Master, Pakistan is facing energy shortage, particularly in the field of electricity, and there are load sheddings, power outages in Pakistan, which is making people very angry, and also it is affecting Pakistan's industry and other activities of various fields. So how would you help, how could you help Pakistan overcome this shortage?
Good question, difficult question to answer. Each solutions one has for Pakistan needs time to implement. As far as I know from our companies, there's not much which one can do in a short time, like a couple of months. Most of them, the solutions would be on a longer term, let's say in a 2 years measure, be it from new plants, be it from improving existing plants. The Austrian tourism management school in Swat, Baitam, we called it was an abbreviation. We had the Malam Jawad skiing resort. Unfortunately, both the resort and the school suffered terribly when the Taliban took over the Swat Valley. What we try to do now is to provide new curriculums, for instance, for this school. This will take some time, but we are in contact with the school, with some teachers, and we hope that we can provide the curriculums, and maybe the school come actually back to its original place where it was. The skiing resort, will not be redone by us anymore. But what we are doing in cooperation with the Aga Khan Foundation and a couple of Austrian companies like Hope 87, we provide in Gilgit-Baltistan schooling, education material, and these issues. These are on our development aid line, which works quite well actually. I've just been to Gilgit-Baltistan at the end of October, and it was I was quite impressed by the work they have done. Of course, if you have there the support of the Aga Khan Foundation, is very helpful.
So you are providing funds to Aga Khan Foundation for the development in that sector?
It's not directly to the Aga Khan Foundation. It's provided to an Austrian NGO, which are jointly developed by Aga Khan and the Austrian NGO.
Coming back to this skiing project, are you not going to restore this, because this was a very popular sport in that part of Pakistan, and now that normal situation is there, peace has returned to Swat, Malam Jabba, but you are reluctant to do that now?
We are concentrating our funds currently on development. In Pakistan, on the development aid side, the funds are concentrated on schooling and education projects. And this was at that time a very big investment, which unfortunately is, well, destroyed and lost. So we are reluctant to redo such a big investment to lose so much money again. Also, when I was in Peshawar, we spoke with the relevant tourism authorities, and they told us that actually their idea is to build little chalets up there and not a hotel anymore, plus that the skiing lift and so on will be provided by Switzerland, as far as I have heard.
And what about the NGOs? You mentioned that you have NGOs through which you operate in Pakistan, and particularly in northern areas. Are there any other NGOs in Pakistan which operate through those NGOs? You provide funds to them?
Yeah, and there are a couple of other NGOs. Of course, we had last year and the year before, because of the floods, NGOs in here. We are still having NGOs in here which are at that time doing the emergency aid, and now are in the reconstruction and resettlement. So they were building houses, helping the villagers to...
Which part of Pakistan? In
Sindh? Mainly in Sindh area, yeah. Sindh and a little bit in Punjab, but mainly it was focused on Sindh.
And you talked about floods. Are you also helping people in southern part of Punjab and Sindh to rebuild houses and to build schools and roads, etc.?
Yes, but not so much roads, but housing, schooling is done by our NGOs. A couple of them with quite innovative new, well, for me at least, new techniques, which were first seen a little bit reluctantly by the population, but now they have adopted to this new style of building. It is.
Was it not matching the domestic style of building, or?
It was. They use sandbags for building houses and then plaster it. It's a very, I think that the concept was developed in Los Angeles as a more earthquake-resistant housing, but they have also proven very flood-resistant. So there is an NGO, an Austrian NGO, which is using this rather innovative technique. And of course, when you first see your house, when you're used to have a house made out of, I don't know, bricks, and then you see that your house is built up by sandbags, you are maybe a little bit reluctant.
There's a big difference, yes.
But now, as far as I've heard, the people have got accustomed to it, that they even like it a lot. I mean, it's one shelter rooms, and they can then add, if they deem it necessary, yes. But what we are providing there are these emergency houses with one shelter room. and everything else is then up to the people.
थैंक यू एम्बेसडर. विल टेक अनदर शॉर्ट ब्रेक. नाज़रीन, एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं. ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम पाकिस्तान में ऑस्ट्रिया के सफीर एलेक्स वर्श से मजीद गुफ्तगू करेंगे पाकिस्तान और ऑस्ट्रिया के दरमियान ताउन को फ़रोग़ देने के लिए. Welcome back. Ambassador, Pakistan tourism is a sector where Pakistan has huge potential to be developed. Is Austria interested in developing the tourist resorts in Pakistan, particularly in northern areas and other parts of Pakistan, which are historically very important?
Well, you know, our biggest effort was at that time the tourism school, the hotel management school, which, as I said, is unfortunately destroyed. So we tried to provide here in this area adequate people who have the knowledge how to deal with Western tourists. The development of tourist resorts, we have looked into it with our trade commissioner, but we so far have not really received any feedback from Austria. I personally have been visiting Gilgit, and I have to say it was an amazing sight. Gilgit,
Chitral, and
Chitral I have unfortunately not yet been, but Gilgit, Baltistan,
there are huge potential to develop.
Amazing potentials. The main drawback which I see here in Pakistan is actually for let's say, Austrian tourist who comes for 2 weeks to Gilgit, and he has to be back on Monday. He has to be back in Monday in Austria. I mean, he cannot tell his boss the flights are not working or not operating, the road is not, and I came only on Wednesday. So there would be a necessity to invest heavily either I don't know if it's technically possible, but in a blind flying possibility that Gilgit Airport can operate
throughout the year.
Throughout the year,
but at least to the summer season.
Yeah, weather conditions, and also that the road access is reliable. It's the question of reliability, actually. Of course, other sites, when I now was my mother and my grandmother, I visited Lahore, for instance. It's impressive to see Jahangir's tomb, the mosque, really impressive sites. Of course, tourism to Pakistan is not how should I say it? Pakistan is not the most favorite Austrian tourism destination. Also, of course, because of the reputation Pakistan is unfortunately having through the medias. Whenever you look at the medias, you only find
they're painting a negative image of Pakistan.
Very negative image. So it's rare that tourism are coming. They are coming. Mountaineers especially are coming. We have quite a famous Austrian top alpinist who is coming at least twice a year here to Pakistan to climb K2 and Nanga Parbat and so on. But this is, of course, a small group, which is not the mass tourism, which you, for instance, have in India. In India, if you go to an Austrian tourism office, you find tours through Rajasthan and so on. You don't find a tour through Pakistan, Punjab. So the potential is here, definitively is here, but yet it's not developed. It's an untapped source, and one can for sure tap into it heavily. But of course, this requires a rather stable security situation. This requires
more infrastructure to facilitate tourists and provide them access to difficult areas, northern areas.
Yeah. This is the main problem.
Ambassador, you have been here for the last 1 year. You have studied other areas where Pakistan and Austria can collaborate, cooperate, and contribute And which are those areas to your mind?
There would be, of course, possibility in contribution in the agricultural field, where we just had a very interesting presentation by the government of Punjab on ways they are using, they are producing, which are equal to ours, also where you can tag where comes this product from which farm and so on. Then, of course, there's cooperation possibilities in construction areas, housing, roads, railway area would be also, we were here very strong in the railway area. This has gone down over the last 10 years, but we are still definitively interested to come back here in the railway area. Of course, there is also the question, what can we provide? What is necessary for Pakistan? If it is just, let's say, railway tracks, normal railway tracks, we would be just too expensive. We cannot compete to certain other countries which produce far cheaper. If it is, for instance, high-speed tracks, we would sure be able to compete. Locomotives would be another area.
You think that high-speed tracks in Pakistan are feasible? They can be done, and you know, we can upgrade the current system?
You have to ask a specialist and technician. I do think that at least the connection between Lahore, Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi would be really necessary. It would most probably also be necessary, maybe not on a high speed for passengers, but on a general track to keep the roads free from heavy trucks, to shift heavy
the burden
loads
from the roads to railways.
Yeah, to shift this to railways to reach Karachi port or Gwadar port. So there is, of course, a necessity for a good railway system, even if you just limit it to heavyweight lorries. But there would be a necessity. But it's also a political decision which has to be taken.
Has Austria offered Pakistan to upgrade the railway system, to rebuild it, to modernize it?
We had talks with the Minister of Railway on certain issues, yes.
What was the response?
Well, there's an interest, of course, of Pakistan in it, but it was very preliminary talks so far, and we have to follow up on this.
And in other areas, like you mentioned agriculture, Pakistan is quite developed in agriculture. It is producing huge wheat, rice and cotton. Can Austria help Pakistan boost its agriculture production in wheat, in rice, in other commodities?
Well, the production is here. That's the point. The production is here. It's, at least with this system which was presented to us, it would be also matching our standards. The question then is, of course, how to bring on a reliably these products to Austria. It's the same like in tourism. The Austrian consumer would like to have, let's say, his mango on Monday at 8 in the morning on his breakfast table. It does not help him if the mango comes on Monday at 5 to the shop. This is there I see the main challenge actually, to have.
It's a transportation?
It's mainly a transportation system, yes. The question of reliability in supply, standards of supply.
What kind of agricultural products would Austria import from Pakistan if there is a need or if there is a desire on your part?
Well, I personally would import mangoes. A huge quantity of mangoes, because I love the Pakistani mangoes and they are delicious.
No, but rice, wheat, other things, other products?
Yes, rice, definitely. The rice is famous for, and I even take them home in 5-10 kilos if I have enough space in my suitcase. Other products I would have to look up which they really need in Austria, or which is traded. But I guess I would say fruits, rice products, this is for sure something we always would be looking for.
In the industrial sector, can Austria help Pakistan to expand the industrial base of Pakistan, and in which particular areas?
Well, we have provided a couple of years ago steel mills to Pakistan. Now I have heard these steel mills there is an interest to upgrade these steel mills. So, for instance, in the steel sector, we could definitively help with our expertise. Mining areas, this is a little bit difficult. I've been approached quite often on the question of mining precious minerals and so on. There I would say we do not have the expertise like other countries are having. But definitively the steel area would be something where we are strong, traditionally strong.
We'll continue this discussion. नाज़रीन एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं और ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम पाकिस्तान में ऑस्ट्रिया के सफीर से मजीद बातचीत जो है वो जारी रखेंगे. Welcome back. Ambassador, you talked about the steel in Pakistan, the steel mill. One steel mill, the major steel mill in Pakistan, has been set up by the Russians. And I think it's the Russian technology which is being used there. So can Austria help Pakistan to upgrade this system, or you would like to set up another mini steel mill or other mills in Pakistan?
Well, we actually provided a steel mill in the Karachi area about, I would say, 20 years ago. And we have been approached also to give tenders for this steel mill. And this is what our companies will be doing, I guess. There is, of course, always the question how to finance it. So we are looking in certain options, but this would be a project which I think would be very, very interesting and very feasible.
The steel mill that was set up by Austria 20 years back, as you said, is it working, operating very well?
I heard that they are very satisfied with what we provided at that time. So I think they are satisfied with this. Otherwise, they also would not really approach us for new technology and help.
So is that mill operating, and can you upgrade it? Can you modernize it, the same mill, or you are interested in investing more in this sector?
Well, I think we could start with upgrading and improving the existing one. And if there is an interest, we can also, of course, provide new mills if there's an interest and if there's the financing available.
What about the oil sector? The oil sector in Pakistan is also not very developed, and their experts believe that there is a potential to develop oil fields in Pakistan in various parts. Is Austria interested in doing that?
But it's the same company, OMV, which is doing oil and gas in Austria. So here in Pakistan, they are focusing only on the gas development.
Not on oil?
Not on oil at all, no. They are focusing...
Do they think that there is no potential in oil reserves, oil fields?
I think it is a strategic reason by them to focus here on gas. In other countries, they are focusing on oil. I think this is up to their own management reason.
In other sectors like IT, information technology, can Austria help Pakistan to expand this sector, to provide the IT facilities in the nook and corner, every nook and corner of Pakistan, particularly in the far-flung areas?
Well, you know, IT is of course a strong point of the Americans and of the Germans, for instance. So we would have here niche products, which, if necessary, we can provide them. But there would be, as I said, niche projects. It would not be a general product.
What about the trade between the two countries? Are you satisfied with the level of trade, with the volume of trade, or you want to expand it and grow it further?
Well, I think everybody wants to grow it and expand it. So we are rather satisfied with the trade with Pakistan. I think it's basically always around. Pakistan is our 5th largest Asian trading partner. Once it's a little bit better, with Austria. Once it's a little bit lower. But in general, we are very satisfied with the trade. What I would like to expand a little bit is the way of the trade. As I said, we said most of the time we provide, let's say, hydropower, turbines or something. So the trade goes up immediately, but the next year when there's no contract, the trade goes down. So it is not a continuous...
You need to keep it at a level.
Yes, it's not a continuous trade flow like we would...
There are fluctuations.
Too many fluctuations a little bit. This would be a goal which the Trade Commissioner and I have actually defined, that we try to make it a little bit a steady trade and not so much... Well, we will always have the fluctuations because we are focusing on these areas, but still we would like to have a steady trade flow also.
And for that, what areas you have identified that this trade can be studied in these areas and we can sustain this level for quite some time? We
hope, especially in the construction sector, where we would like to do this year a roadshow with a couple of Austrian companies, which would be rather easy because they are anyway strongly focused on the Gulf region. And from the Gulf region coming to Pakistan, it's easy. It's easy and it's not so far. So if we can manage to convince a couple of Austrian companies from there to come here, that would also be quite a success. Another area which would be interesting is nutrition. In principle, conservation of fruits, farming, these areas. And then, of course, there would be an area which is also very interesting, is the renewable energy sector, where we also would have a couple of smaller projects which could be of interest also. What kind of renewable energy? I mean, the wind energy, the solar energy, or some other form of energy? Waste, how you call it? Reprocessing? Or reprocessing of waste into gasification and using this waste. Of course, there is wind, but everybody is having wind and solar power. So we are looking at some alternatives here also. And then, of course, there's the question, which we hope will be also tackled. Quite a lot of Austrian companies, for instance, are in India already. So if there is maybe the most favored nation status with India, one could maybe use the Austrian companies which are in the neighborhood to work here also. In the construction field, which areas, particular areas, your companies would be interested, like road building, bridge building, or or they would like to invest in the housing sector, because Pakistan needs a lot of investment in the housing sector. As you know, the population of Pakistan is 180 million. It's mainly the housing sector which we are looking now for. Of course, there are 2 or 3 big Austrian companies which would be doing road construction, but now we are mainly focusing in the housing sector. So there are prospects for investing in housing sector. Yes. You think there's a huge need for that? Yes, definitely. And you also mentioned the preservation of food and vegetables and all that. Do you think that there are bright prospects for collaboration in this field? Sure, yes. I mean, the prospects are always here. The question is to convince the people to come. As I said, it's also an image problem which Pakistan is facing. But some of the Austrian companies, as you have mentioned, they are working in the field of oil and gas, and they are working in very rough areas, so they have an experience of working in Pakistan, so familiar with the environment, so they can convince their partners and other companies to come. True. No, we work on this, but it's, of course, how should I say, you need to be a little bit of a well, you have to be bold, enterprising. A little bit bold and enterprising, yes. There are, of course, other markets also which are easier to tap. And of course, these companies which we are having here mainly are since years here, since 20, 30, 40 years. So they have seen ups and downs, and they're the big companies. They have a certain, well, financial stamina
to
sustain ups and downs. But unfortunately, the main Austrian companies are small and medium-sized companies. So for them, it's of course a very, very delicate question where to invest.
Right.
And these ones we have to convince, and our trade commissioner, who is based in Abu Dhabi, is actually doing quite a lot there. And as I said, we hope to get a couple of these companies coming here also.
Thank you, Ambassador. नाज़रीन, आज हमने गुफ्तगू की है पाकिस्तान में ऑस्ट्रिया के सफ़ीर मोहतरम एलेक्स वेल्च से, और उनसे गुफ्तगू की है पाकिस्तान और ऑस्ट्रिया के दरमियान किस तरह से तावन हो सकता है। उन्होंने बताया कि पाकिस्तान और ऑस्ट्रिया में पावर सेक्टर में तावन जारी है। उसके अलावा वो कहते हैं कि बहुत पोटेंशियल है, बहुत गुंजाइश है ऑस्ट्रिया की तरफ से पाकिस्तान में सरमायाकारी की, हाउसिंग सेक्टर में, तामीरात के सेक्टर में और दूसरे शोबों में। इसी के साथ ये प्रोग्राम खत्म होता है। जावेद सिद्दीक को इजाज़त दीजिए। खुदा हाफिज।